Hello, and welcome to the Smart Injury Doctors Podcast, the injury market's top program for doctors, lawyers, and insurers who want to gain greater insight on how to improve patient recovery results and deliver better services in the U.S. injury market. Please welcome your host, Dr. Jeffrey Allen Cronk.
Okay, doctors, what I want to do today is I want to talk about the 10 benefits of running a spinal injury practice. I was sitting down getting prepared for this podcast and, riff on this topic, and I thought, okay, let me just write down 10 things. Look, I could probably write down 50 things. The advantages of having an injury practice are enormous, but I'm going to just start with 10. Okay, the first one I'm going to say is emotionally satisfying clinic. A spinal injury practice can be an extremely emotionally satisfying clinic because it's a much easier clinic to run. And two, you're sitting there getting results after results after results. So you're helping patients get results. Remember, injury patients have a 55% chance or less of ever fully recovering. So if you're a good doctor and you can get good results, you should be treating injury patients all day long because you should be narrowing their risk for future chronicity problems. For me, a clinic needs to be emotionally satisfying. The doctor needs to see that you're getting results with patients, and these injury patients, to me, are the best patients to get results with. So that's number one. It provides an emotionally satisfying clinic. Look, if you're sitting there going, gosh, I don't really like to get to my clinic, or, I'm dreading going to my clinic, you don't have an injury clinic. I'm going to tell you that right now. Because when you have an injury clinic, with all the 10 benefits I'm going to give you, you look forward to getting to the clinic. It's fun when you have something that you've built that you really, really enjoy being at and you have fun doing it. And it also makes it great for your staff and the motivation of your staff. Number two is financial. I don't know if there's a better, more financial, more lucrative aspect to your chiropractic business than your injury side of things. Look, for most chiropractors, an injury patient will generate anywhere from 2 to sometimes 10, depending on the practice, to 10 times the clinic revenue that a non-injury patient will. So let's just say it's 5 times. For every 200 insurance patients, I can get the same clinic revenue out of 40 injury patients. And I have less work. I mean, I have 160 less re-exams, maybe another 160, maybe 320 less re-exams that I have to do just in that comparison model, right? Now, here's the other thing. I have a lot less work to do, which leads me into number 3, right? There's no financial burden on the patient. I have no financial burden on the patient. So I don't have to worry. If I have 3 patients that are in a family, I don't have to worry about, well, can they afford it? Do they have high deductible insurance? None of them met their deductible. So now they have to make a decision that, 1 or 2 of them can't afford care. I'm sure that you've sat in consults and thought about, okay, I'm selling this person a $3,000 cash plan or a $5,000 or a $10,000 or $7,000, whatever you're selling, right? Now, what about the wife? What about the kids? And by the time you're done, you're sitting there going, well, geez, if everybody treats, it'll be $12,000, it'll be $20,000, whatever it is, right? So I have no financial burden on the patients, which leads to number 4. I got no financial consults. On those 200 injury patients, I got financial consults on every single one of them. On my 40 injury patients, no financial consults. I don't have to deal with the finances. They don't have to deal with the finances, right? I have to deal with billing. I have to deal with insurance, and I have to deal with getting, paid from the attorneys, but the patient doesn't have to worry about that. So number 5, documentation is so much easier compared to Medicare, compared to a lot of insurance documentation needs. To me, the documentation of a spinal injury patient is super easy. Diagnosis, permanency, effects that it has on the patient, pre-existing conditions, future care. These things are super easy to document. And I've gone over in other podcasts just about every single one of those things. So the documentation requirements to me are way easier. Now, number 6, I'm not restricted in my treatment. So when I say emotionally satisfying and financially, I don't have to have a patient consult, I can use my shockwave, I can use my adjustments, I can use my rehab, I can use my home exercises, I can use massage, I can use my soft tissue treatment, I can use acupuncture. You can use whatever you have. Whatever your tools are, you get to use to get results. And I love that because I'm not restricted. Now I can show just how good I really am at getting patient results because I'm not restricted. Now, the clinic becomes the brand. This is huge. On the non-injury side, you're the brand. When you take a cash patient in that has had headaches forever, and basically you get rid of the headaches, they're not going to your associate, they're going to you. If you take off, they're waiting till you come back. You're the brand. If you've developed a jail of your practice, I can tell you exactly what you did because I know what I did, and I developed one hell of a jail with my first portion of my career. Is you became the brand. Nobody can do this better than you can. Nobody can do this like you can. Okay, on the injury side, it's not that way. Injury patients, the clinic is the brand. Anybody can treat the injury patient, which comes to number 8, which is, hey, I can basically put an associate in. It's very easy to put associates in. Very, very easy to put associates in. So that's the beautiful part. It's easier to get a standard operating procedure in an injury clinic than it is in a non-injury clinic, right? So getting my associates in is incredible. Now, what that does is it increases, number 9, increases my clinic value. If you have so some of you are going to exit at some point. Well, you're developing a business asset that is a saleable asset. So the more I have on the injury side, and it doesn't take a lot. Let's say 10%, 20%, 30% of your practice is treating injury patients. Your practice becomes much more valuable. It just does on the market. If you don't believe me, check it out. So then, number 10, marketing. If you learn and understand how to attract injury patients, you understand marketing for every patient. You understand for the neuropathy patient, for the when you're doing decompression patient, you understand it for the shockwave patient, whatever you have, whatever these tools that you have. Well, they all revolve around injury. The more you understand injury, the more you understand everything that you're doing in your clinic. And the more that you understand how to market for injury patients, the more you understand how to market for everybody. So 1, this practice is emotionally satisfying. 2, it's financially satisfying. 3, there's no financial burden on the patients. 4, no financial consults. 5, the documentation is a lot easier. 6, I get to do anything in an unrestricted fashion that I want to do to get the patient well. 7 is the clinic is the brand, not me, which is 8, makes it easier to put an associate in. 9, makes the clinic more valuable. And 10, if I understand how to attract these patients marketing-wise, I understand how to attract everything marketing-wise. So everything becomes a lot easier. That's why I like the injury practice side of things. Now, for those of you that have, when I deal with a lot of chiropractors right now, we have we're getting close to over 600 that were in some form of training in our programs. By the end of the year, by the end of 2026, we want that to be somewhere around 1,500 to 2,000, and that's what we're doing. So, if a lot of chiropractors have thoughts on but I don't want to deal with attorneys. They look at the negative side of personal injury, and I say, okay, well, look at the negative side of a cash practice. Look at the negative side of a insurance practice. There's negative sides to everything. There's no perfect non-negative, but as far as negatives, I say the least amount of negatives are in the injury side of your practice, and it's the most lucrative. So if you ever have, you need help, or you got some sort of mental block on, hey, I don't want to develop this, because call us 727-306-2267. Set up an appointment with me. I do 30-minute consults, and they're free. And basically, I just go over any concerns that you have, but also I show you where there's holes in your clinic, where you're not using the assets that you already have developed to get more injury patients into it. So doctors, on these podcasts, what I do is I just take a short riff on a topic, and I kind of riff on it for a little bit, and then hopefully it adds some value to you as you're driving or as you're thinking about these things, adds some value to you. And I totally appreciate your time, your attention. So I try to make it so that it will have value to you, because I understand what you do and I understand how hard it is to do what you do. So I appreciate your time and attention, and I look forward to delivering more content on the next podcast.
You've been listening to the Smart Injury Doctors Podcast, the #1 audio production show for professionals in the U.S. injury market that want to deliver better injury services to the patients, clients, or insureds they serve. If you like what you heard today, please leave us a review and don't forget to join us on our next program.